Who will betray you has already decided. They're just waiting for the perfect moment. Betrayal never comes from who you expect. It comes from those who smile at you, from those who know your secrets, from those who share your table. And when it finally happens, it's already too late. The damage is done, trust is destroyed, and you wonder how you didn't see it coming. Machiavelli knew this. In his time, betrayal wasn't the exception, it was the rule of the game. Those who didn't learn to detect it didn't survive. The Renaissance courts were full of fake smiles, fragile alliances, daggers hidden behind embraces. And Machiavelli observed, he studied, he learned to read what others couldn't see. And today, even though times have changed, human nature remains exactly the same. The same signals he observed in the palaces of Florence are still present in your workplace, in your family, in your closest relationships, because betrayal hasn't changed. Only the scenery has changed. There are people who have already decided to betray you. They're just waiting for the right moment, the perfect opportunity, the instant when you let your guard down, but you can see it before it happens. You can read the signals others ignore. You can protect yourself before you need to defend yourself, because betrayal isn't sudden. It's built in silence, with small gestures, with subtle changes that only the trained observer can detect. And today, you're going to become that observer. You're going to learn to see the invisible, to read between the lines, to detect betrayal 3 months before it happens. I'm ready to see the truth. My eyes are open. Machiavelli wrote in The Prince, something that many prefer to ignore. Men are so simple and obey present necessities so much that he who deceives will always find someone willing to be deceived. It may sound harsh, but it's real. Most people don't betray out of pure evil. They betray out of convenience, out of fear, out of self-interest, and that makes them predictable. When you understand that betrayal isn't personal but strategic, you stop taking it as an attack on your worth and start seeing it for what it is, a calculated decision by someone who put their interests above everything else. And when you see it that way, you can anticipate it, because people who act out of self-interest always leave traces. They always show signals. You just have to know where to look. Today, we're going to talk about 7 signals that Machiavelli identified over 500 years ago that are still valid today. 7 behaviors that reveal someone is preparing the ground to betray you. And by the end of this video, you won't be the same. Because once you learn to see these signals, you can't stop seeing them. Thank you for the clarity. I'm learning to observe. The first signal is the change in public loyalty. Machiavelli observed that before a betrayal, people would start changing their public discourse. They'd stop defending you with the same strength. They'd start showing neutrality in situations where they previously supported you without hesitation. They wouldn't attack you directly, but they wouldn't back you up either. And that sudden neutrality is a warning sign, because when someone who was always on your side starts staying silent, something changed. Maybe they received a better offer. Maybe they feel your power is diminishing. Maybe they're simply testing the waters to see which way the wind blows. But what's certain is they're no longer completely with you, and whoever isn't completely with you will eventually be against you. Watch how they talk about you when they think you're not listening. Watch if they still defend your ideas with the same passion. Watch if their loyalty is conditional or absolute. Because conditional loyalty isn't loyalty, it's convenience in disguise. Not everyone who stays silent is against me, but everyone who will betray me will start by staying silent. The second signal is excessive justification. When someone starts explaining their actions too much, when they feel the need to justify every decision, every move, every word, something isn't right. Machiavelli knew that guilt manifests before the act. Whoever plans to betray you already feels the weight of what they're going to do, and that weight makes them talk more than necessary. They start telling you how much they appreciate you without you asking. They constantly remind you of everything they've done for you. They assure you of their loyalty at times when it wasn't necessary to do so. And all of that isn't love. It's anticipated guilt. It's the attempt to build an emotional alibi for when they finally act. Because whoever is truly loyal doesn't need to constantly prove it. Their loyalty is seen in their actions, not in their words. But whoever plans to betray you needs to convince themselves they're not that bad. They need to justify the unjustifiable. And that need gives them away. When someone talks too much about their loyalty, it's because they've already lost it. The third signal is gradual emotional distancing. It's not sudden. It's not dramatic. It's subtle. They start responding later. Their messages are shorter. They no longer share with you what they used to share. Deep conversations become superficial. And when you try to get closer, you feel an invisible resistance. Machiavelli understood that before betraying, people need to create emotional distance, because it's easier to betray someone you feel distant from than someone you have a strong bond with. So they start pulling away little by little, preparing the ground, building the separation that will allow them to act without remorse. And you feel it. Something changed. But you can't pinpoint it exactly. You just know it's not like before. And that intuition is correct, because betrayal starts long before the act. It starts the moment they decide you're no longer a priority. Watch who pulls away for no apparent reason. Watch who stops reaching out to you. Watch who builds walls where there used to be bridges. Because those walls aren't random, they're preparation. I'm learning to read what isn't said. The fourth signal is the search for alternative alliances. When someone starts strengthening relationships with people they previously ignored, when they start building networks outside your circle, when they start positioning themselves strategically with others, something is happening. Machiavelli called it preparing the ground, because nobody betrays without having a plan B. Nobody abandons you without first making sure they have somewhere to land. So they start cultivating other relationships, building other alliances, making sure that when they finally act, they won't be alone. And they do all of this in silence, discreetly, while still smiling at you. Watch who they start spending more time with. Watch who they start publicly praising. Watch where their energy moves, because energy doesn't lie. And when someone starts investing their time and attention in others, it's because they've already decided you're no longer their priority. It's not paranoia, it's strategic observation. It's intelligent protection. It's learning to see the game before they take you off the board. Whoever seeks new alliances in silence has already decided the current ones don't serve them. The fifth signal is the change in body language. Machiavelli didn't just observe words. He observed gestures, looks, postures, and he knew the body doesn't lie. When someone starts avoiding your gaze, when their hugs become mechanical, when their smile no longer reaches their eyes, when their body pulls away while their words say otherwise, something isn't right. Body language reveals what the mouth hides, and whoever plans to betray you can't completely control their body. They can control their words, they can rehearse their speech, but they can't prevent their body from showing discomfort, guilt, distance. Watch how they look at you. Watch how they react when you enter a room. Watch if their body opens toward you or closes off, because those small gestures say more than 1,000 words. And when body and words don't match, always believe the body. The body doesn't know how to lie, only words do. The sixth signal is criticism disguised as concern. They start questioning your decisions, but they do it carefully. They tell you they only want what's best for you. They warn you about risks they didn't see before. They make you doubt yourself, but always with a smile, always with a tone of concern. Machiavelli knew that before betraying you openly, people start planting doubts. They start weakening your confidence. They start preparing the ground so that when they finally act, others are already questioning your judgment. And they do it all under the disguise of friendship, of advice, of genuine concern. But it's not concern. It's emotional sabotage. It's the attempt to weaken you before the final blow. Because it's easier to betray someone who's already weakened than someone who's at their maximum power. Watch who starts planting doubts where there used to be support. Watch who questions your decisions more frequently. Watch who makes you feel insecure while saying they're helping you. Because that's not help, it's preparation for betrayal. Thank you for the wisdom. I'm seeing with clarity. The seventh signal is the most subtle and the most dangerous, the excess of information. When someone starts telling you too much about others, when they start revealing secrets they shouldn't reveal, when they start showing you how disloyal they can be with others, they're showing you exactly what they'll do to you. Machiavelli said it clearly. Whoever betrays others for you will eventually betray you for others. Because betrayal isn't an isolated act. It's a pattern of behavior. It's a way of operating. And whoever does it once will do it again. So when someone comes to you with gossip, with other people's secrets, with information they shouldn't share, don't feel special. Don't think it'll be different with you. Because what they're showing you isn't trust. It's their true nature. And that nature doesn't change. Watch how they talk about others when they're not present. Watch what secrets they reveal. Watch how easy it is for them to break someone else's trust. Because they'll break yours the same way when it suits them. Whoever betrays others for me will betray me for others. Now that you know the 7 signals, you have a decision to make. You can ignore them and hope for the best, or you can observe with clarity and protect yourself with intelligence. Machiavelli doesn't ask you to distrust everyone. He asks you to observe everyone, to not give your trust blindly, to protect your energy, your information, your power, because betrayal hurts, yes. But it hurts much more when you could have avoided it and didn't, when the signals were there and you decided not to see them, when your intuition warned you and you ignored it for fear of seeming paranoid. It's not paranoia, it's protection. It's not distrust, it's wisdom. It's not coldness, it's emotional intelligence. Because whoever masters the art of observation can no longer be surprised, can no longer be betrayed without having seen it coming. And when you see it coming, you can decide. You can walk away. You can protect yourself. You can act before it's too late. I'm ready to protect my peace. I'm ready to observe with clarity. Not everyone deserves your trust. Not everyone deserves to know your plans. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. And that doesn't make you cold. It makes you wise. It makes you strategic. It makes you someone who already understood that trust isn't given away. It's earned, and it can be lost. Machiavelli lived in a world where betrayal was common currency, and he survived because he learned to read people, to see beyond words, to detect intentions behind smiles. And you can do the same, because the world hasn't changed that much. People still act out of self-interest. They still betray when it suits them. They still show the same signals they showed 500 years ago. You just have to learn to see them. And now you see them. Now you know what to look for. Now you have the knowledge that protects you. Now you're the observer, not the victim. Now you're the strategist, not the surprised one. Thank you for the clarity. I'm growing in silence, so if you made it this far, you're no longer the same person who started this video. Something inside you changed. A new way of seeing, a new way of protecting yourself, a new way of moving through the world. Because now you know that betrayal doesn't come without warning. It always leaves signals. It always shows its face before the final blow. And you've already learned to read them. You've already learned to protect yourself. You've already learned that true strength isn't in trusting everyone, but in knowing who to trust. And that makes you free. It makes you powerful. It makes you someone who can no longer be surprised. I'm ready to see the truth. I'm ready to protect what's mine. I'm ready to move with wisdom, deep gratitude, absolute clarity, silent power.